Hello there and welcome back to another video. I hope you're doing very well on today, which is, I think it's Tuesday. It could be Wednesday. Honestly, I don't actually know what day it is. I really don't, actually. That's not even a joke. I need to check what day it is. What day are we on? It's Tuesday. Right, cool. I'm losing my days. I'm pretty sure quite a few people are suffering with losing days as well. But hey, I genuinely hope that you're doing as well as possible and doing as good as you can be during these current times and the way the world is. Anyway, what we're going to talk about a little bit today is obviously talking about the centre back situation and what it means for Liverpool moving forward this season, in my opinion. Now, this is just my opinion, and this is just formulated from thoughts that I have, things that I read, and taking news, articles, whatever, and forming my own opinion. And that is literally what it is. If you like that opinion, that's cool. If you don't like the opinion, that's also cool. How you communicate that, that's entirely up to you. And it also depends on what response you get from me. If you are abusive about it, then you just don't get a response. And if you're, I'm happy to discuss anyone that disagrees with how I think about things or anything like that. I really am. I'm very happy to discuss anything that anybody wants to talk about. So, hey, let's get into it. What I wanted to look at first of all is just to have a quick look at what our centre back situation is at this current moment in time. This is off LiverpoolFC.com, the actual website, looking at the squad. Now, what I'm going to do straight away is we're going to ignore Sepp van den Berg. He plays primarily and if only for the youth team, for the under 23s, I think it is, maybe under 21s, I'm not entirely sure. Still a young lad, I think he's only 18 or 19 and hasn't had to be called upon just yet. But hey, time, there's time, Mr. Van den Berg, there's definitely time for you to be called up during this season, for sure. So we're going to ignore him for just now, not for any rude reasons or anything like that, but just because he's not actually involved in what we're going to be talking about here. So obviously, we look at the big two, Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez. We could put crosses through them. We don't know when they're going to be available. All the training videos look very, very positive, but they are just that, training videos. They're still rehabilitating, and they're going to be a long time. In my mind, they're going to be a long time away from actually coming back. So for me, in my mind, I've actually written these two off for not appearing for the rest of the season. I know there's a chance that Van Dijk could, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Things can happen, injuries can worsen or whatever. His recovery looks great, but anything can happen. I'm not going to get myself excited and say that Virgil van Dijk's going to be coming back in like March, April, whenever it might be. He comes back when he comes back. So what we're looking at here then is we've obviously got the fullbacks involved here as well. Tsimikas, Andy Robertson as your left backs, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Nico Williams as your right backs. Now, Kostas Tsimikas hasn't also featured for Liverpool a great deal. He's been struggling with injuries this season, so we're barely seeing him. Can't really form an opinion on him and his style of play with Liverpool because he's barely been able to feature. A lot of it is actually rested on Andy Robertson and James Milner and his versatility, being able to go into left back, right back, probably defence, goalkeeper as well if he wanted to. So we're looking really at Joel Matip, Reece Williams, and Nat Phillips being what Liverpool recognise and we recognise as our centre backs. Now, Joel Matip would be the guy behind Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez as your senior centre back, the guy that you'd be looking to lead someone else that's maybe next to him that isn't as experienced as him as well. What we've been lucky with in some respects is that Fabinho, this absolute god of a midfielder, has been able to come into the centre-back role and do very well in general. But the centre-back partnership is not a settled thing for Liverpool. The reason that we did really well in terms of defence and in terms of actually keeping clean sheets, being competitive at all levels, you basically knew. And everybody out there basically knew. I'll give you a second and I'll ask you the question. When a Liverpool starting 11 lineup comes up, who is in the back four and who's the goalkeeper? If you go for last season, when everybody was fit and available, who is it? I'll give you a minute. You won't even need that. You knew in the Premier League, take away cup competitions, the Premier League and the Champions League, if everyone's fit and available, that back line, Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk, Andy Robertson. And I miss being able to say that when I do starting lineup predictions. I really do. Because just saying their names just fills you with an air of confidence. That's a confidence that we don't have at the moment. We really don't. We are relying on an injury-prone Joel Matip and young lads in Reece Williams and Nat Phillips. That's what we're relying on at the moment, and it's difficult. We're also relying on Fabinho. Now, anyone that doesn't know, or anyone that's lived under a rock, knows that Fabinho isn't immune to injuries. And when he's been out in the past, I think even last season when he was out for quite a while, and then when he comes back, takes him a while to get back up to speed. Kind of took him a long time to get back up to speed, if I remember rightly, and it actually maybe took him until after last year's lockdown and football restarted. Fabinho actually seemed to come back into life, basically. So we're really hoping that Fabinho doesn't get injured or long term injured, just injured in general. We're hoping that Joel Matip gets injured less, but that might not happen because it's Joel Matip and he gets injured quite a lot. Always has niggling little injuries here and there and never seems to be able to fully recover. Or maybe that's just how he is. We've had it with Sturridge, fantastic striker. On his day, he was absolutely brilliant, but he was injured far too often, especially after the 13-14 season. Then we've got Reece Williams, who is a young lad. If the youngest one aside from Van den Berg in this lineup here. He's done well when he came in for Liverpool. I think he came in the Champions League, if I remember rightly. Did very well. He's commanded himself very well, in my opinion. Is he going to make mistakes? Yes, he's a very, very young player in terms of a centre-back and just in general. Centre-backs always tend to have a good few more years before they start to mature into their role over like midfielders, full-backs, and attackers. They're a bit more like the ilk of a goalkeeper where you can see some goalkeepers playing into late 30s and stuff like that, but you don't really see many late 30s attackers, probably, Ibrahimovic being the guy that's, bucking the trend there, if we're going to say anything. So Reece Williams, he's got good qualities about him, needs time to learn and develop, and he's in a very good environment to do that, but he's also under a lot of pressure for a team that wants to be competing for the top four, wants to be competing for the title, all that sort of business, and wants to be competitive in the Champions League as well. Those are the three things that are more, the priority for Liverpool as it is these days, which we're fortunate to be able to be fighting for those things as well. Nat Phillips at the moment would be my preferred centre-back partner for Fabinho. If that's how we're going to have to roll, and Liverpool aren't going to go out there and sign a defender, then this is what I would actually prefer us to do. I just look at Nat Phillips and I feel that physically he looks a lot more ready to be more of a full-time centre-back in the first team for now than Reece Williams. Reece Williams, he's a good prospect and he is a good centre-back, he is a good defender, but he needs a bit more time to develop, in my opinion. And he's still got a long time to do that as well. He has impressed, he makes mistakes, everybody does. That's absolutely fine. It's not a criticism of Reece Williams whatsoever. Not from me, anyway. But Nat Phillips, for me, I feel if we can use him, because we can't use him in the Champions League, but we can use him in the Premier League, let's get him used. Let's get him involved. People always talk about Nat Phillips when he plays. You always hear it on the commentary. Looks like an old school centre-back. First priority is to get the ball, clear the ball, make a tackle, jump for the ball, win the aerial duels, put himself about physically. We need that at the moment. We really do need that at the moment, because at the moment, in defence, we do look a little bit like a bit of a soft touch. While we haven't conceded a great many goals, over the last month or so, there's still something wrong with the way that we're playing. And it might actually come down to the nervousness of the centre-backs, the unsettledness of the centre-backs. It would be quite nice to build up a partnership between another player and Fabinho. A lot of people will prefer Joel Matip, and Joel Matip's a quality player. The problem that I have with Joel Matip is he never stays fit, and then you have to keep rotating players in and out. But I'd also like us to be using, Nat Phillips and Reece Williams where we can, as well as Joel Matip, in some sort of rotation over using Jordan Henderson at centre-back. We're already losing so much from midfield by using Fabinho at centre-back. And at centre-back, he's been fantastic. But we miss that from midfield. We miss his driving runs. We miss him winning the ball in the middle of the pitch and being able to set someone else off. We're losing him, winning balls back, being very aggressive against other midfielders as well, being a physical presence in the middle of the park, and he's good at winning aerial balls as well. We're missing that. Now Henderson, being our captain and being the versatile man that he is, it's very, very good that he can drop into the centre-back role if needed. It really is. It is a very good quality of him and shows his versatility as well. I know he's come in and played right back very rarely. I think he's maybe done it when we've had to substitute someone off. Maybe like Trent if he's gone off injured or something like that and we've used all of our subs, whatever it might be. Jordan Henderson is very, very good. He's vital in our midfield if we're going to do anything. Now I realise that he's actually been injured the last 2 games I think that we've played. And it shows in the way that we play in midfield sometimes that we don't have him running that midfield. And it doesn't always come off the same when we've got a James Milner, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Gini Wijnaldum even. It misses that quality, that leadership, that pure aggressive leadership that Jordan Henderson has. We miss that so much when he's not in the midfield. That's why I would much rather we start looking at creating a partnership with Nat Phillips or creating a partnership with Reece Williams. Joel Matip just is never going to stay fit enough to be able to be that full-time partner until the big lads in Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez come back. Now, the reality for Liverpool and us as fans is, well, pretty much this. In a video yesterday, I think I looked at the Manchester United game briefly, looked into a little bit of the FSG stuff and the fact that we were linked to Sokratis, who played for Arsenal. Pretty much within about 10 to 15 minutes of my video going live yesterday, he'd signed for Olympiacos. So obviously we're not going to be in for the free agent that was, that was Sokratis. That's not happening. It looks like if Liverpool could do it, and they find someone that is a free agent of some sort that can come in without a transfer fee, they will do that sort of deal. Me personally, and I said it at the start of the January transfer window, and I've always been consistent with our transfer window in January, is that we will not be signing anybody. And people can go off and they can go rage, they can go, tweet whatever they want, and a lot of people are doing that right now. The FSG out brigade are in full force, and there's actually a couple of Klopp outs as well, which is just an absolute cop-out in my opinion. I don't get what people are doing. I don't believe that they're Liverpool fans. If they are saying Klopp out, I cannot ever get behind that type of movement. Not one bit, not whatsoever. Not for what he's done to our club and what he's brought to our club in terms of the magnificent stuff he's done. No way. Liverpool aren't signing a centre-back in January. There is, 5 days left? Maybe 6 days left of this transfer window. It's not happening. If Liverpool had a target in mind and Klopp had a target in mind, they would have gone out and done it. It's how Liverpool work. Very rarely do we leave things to the end of a transfer window. Very, 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 very rarely. If for some reason someone's not available until the end of a window, it's not the Liverpool way to go out really, to like in recent years, to go out and just panic buy someone or panic loan someone in. It's not the way that Liverpool will do it, and I don't think that they will do it this time. What I'm trying to get at in this video is that we need to get Nat Phillips much more involved and get him much more involved alongside the likes of Fabinho, Joel Matip, because what I'm looking at as well, if we could do it in a perfect world and Joel Matip wasn't injury prone like he is, my partnership would be between Joel Matip and Nat Phillips, and we push Fabinho back into midfield, then we can have Henderson into midfield as well and not have to worry about them covering as centre-back, but they could do it like on the one-off time, odd times here or there. It doesn't look like it's going to happen that way because of Matip's injury problems, and maybe that's something that can be addressed in the summer as well. Another video to talk about at another time. But that's what I'm looking at here. There needs to be much more involvement, in my opinion, from Nat Phillips, and stop dropping Jordan Henderson into the defensive line. Get a partnership going somewhere. That's what we need to happen. And if we can get some sort of partnership, going between these guys, say it is Nat Phillips and Fabinho, and we get a partnership going for a little bit, you should start to see a bit more consistency in our performances at the back, which should breed a little bit more confidence through the rest of the team as well. But like I say, there is no current, in-team replacement for Virgil van Dijk or Joe Gomez. That sort of consistency isn't going to be coming in, not this season. We are in a race for top four. We're still in the top four somehow. We might be out of it by the end of today. We play Spurs on Thursday, which is another big game. West Ham at the weekend as well. There's big games coming up left, right, and centre for Liverpool, and I don't really know what's going to happen, come the end of the season. But I think that we can get a little bit of level of consistency if we actually put a bit more faith in the likes of a Nat Phillips, get him involved, and we'll just have to see what happens. No transfer coming in January. It sucks a little bit, but it is reality. We also should have known that was probably going to happen as well. So hey, let me know what you think in the comments below anyway. That's just some thoughts that I wanted to get out about the defensive issues and stuff like that, and not fully go in and have a good old rant and stuff like that like some people are having. Just a discussion about our centre-backs, how the midfielders are being used as well. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's, get your thoughts in. I love talking to you guys. If we can have a nice level conversation, that's absolutely fantastic, and I'm a big fan of it as well, and I am a big fan of you guys. Thank you ever so much for watching any of these videos and this video today as well. I certainly hope that you have a great day ahead of you, whatever is happening, and even more so, I hope that you have a good week and a good month. I mean, we're nearly into the next month now already. Time is flying by with nothing much happening, But yeah, feel free to like this video, subscribe if you're new around here as well. Thank you ever so much once again. Do take care, and I'll catch you later.